Yeah. Property of the Department of Homeless Services, New York City. Alright. This guy right here, that guy's a vet. Different era, but a vet. That's me right there. Former Special Forces Airborne Ranger. What'd you do in the Army?
I was a computer technician. Basically, I repaired computers that we used to fire howitzers and things like that.
So he was in the artillery?
No, it was ordnance.
Okay.
Ordnance/maintenance, yeah.
Okay. When I came in today, he had left dessert for me on my bunk.
Well, I gave one to everyone.
Yeah, I know. We're veterans, and we live in this lower room. What's this, about 18 by 12?
If that.
If that. 4 men. Those are 4 lockers. And this is a conversation I wanted to have because this morning I got a call from the medical director of the BRONX VA, the James J.PETERS Medical Center, who works in collaboration with Mount Sinai Hospital. And Mount Sinai Hospital works in cooperation with the big pharmaceuticals. In any event, you know about the story, right?
Somewhat, yeah.
Okay. I'll refresh your memory. I went to work one day at the library, and who shows up? The editor and publisher of the New York Page newspaper, who carried 2 of my stories. And he apologized to me, and he thanked me for my perseverance in this cause I've been fighting. And that cause was for justice. And I know now there's no such a thing in the United States of America. In any event, he referred me to a homeless organization where I met a social worker. And the only reason why I liked the guy is because he was compassionate. He was kind. His name is Chris. And this guy nurtured a relationship with me that led for me to respect him and his organization. As a matter of fact, the reason why I'm not dead now is because one of the women at that organization called me up and said, Bryce, please, I swear to God, she just like that, she said, Bryce, please, don't stay on the beach. Don't stay on the beach. And don't go sleep under the boardwalk. I listened to her. If not, I'd have been on the beach and I'd have been dead in Sandy. And what would have led to that would have been because the allegations are that the Bronx Veterans Administration was negligent. The Bronx Veterans Hospital was negligent. And they were negligent because when I went to this homeless organization, they ended up referring me to a VA-funded facility. That VA-funded facility is called Volunteers of America. I was there a month. They knew who I was. They knew what I was doing. And they knew I'd been on the street for over 2.5 years because I was afraid for my life. the son of New York State Senator Huntley, came up dead after I had exposed his story, and they took him in. That's how they had access to him, because he was no longer in the street. And the allegations are that they gave him, he can't be under your care, under the care of a New York State Senator, and he has an overdose. He's an expert junkie. Junkies get high to get high. Junkies don't make a mistake getting high and kill themselves because they can't get high no more. You get my point?
Yeah.
And then it was so convenient that he had this drug overdose within 45 days of me serving the state senator, along with every elected official in town, the mayor of New York, every single agency, the Queens District Attorney, Human Resources, Adult Protective Services, and the NYPD, and numerous other named individuals in a lawsuit that's unprecedented in history in New York State. And that's after I had spent over 3.5 years in another lawsuit, which was an Article 78 petition to get it adjudicated that, in fact, I was wrongfully evicted. And I got that. Meanwhile, I spent over 2.5 years fighting with the newspapers, bugging them to look at my story. I ran into a guy called John Daniel. He loves my shows on YouTube. And he went to the big guys at the Daily News, and they put 12 reporters on my story. And that ended up leading to the almost a month of newspaper stories showing how New York City Housing Authority had been sitting on about $1 billion, another $500-600 million of stuff that, they didn't even know what they had. I mean, these guys are like up to their neck in trouble. Had it been any other mayor, other than Mayor Bloomberg, who, as a Haitian, I say that because he's a Jewish white boy, and he's got that much money, he's a media mogul, nobody's going to touch him no matter what he does. This is New York City. It's a Yiddish city-state. I believe it's a satellite colony of Israel proper, where people are recruited from Borough Park to go sit on Palestinian land in Israel and all of that crap, which is a totally separate matter, but it basically says that the Jewish community owns this town, lock, stock, and barrel, and a Jewish man can do any goddamn thing he wants and get away with it. Basically. Because if you catch his political appointee in civil rights violations, which is every single political appointee that he named Commissioner of Housing, by it having been found that those guys were diverting federal funds since 2005, anybody else, they would have strung them up, yes or no?
I think so. I'm not sure. I don't know the whole.
Okay, guess what? Where else in the United States of America is it going to be found that hundreds of millions of dollars have been diverted? The federal dollars have been diverted, and nobody goes to jail, and it's just a newspaper story.
I'm not sure. Not that I couldn't think of a place, but.
You can't think of a place.
No.
Me neither. That's all I'm trying to say. Because I believe that the undue influence of the religious exemption that Mayor Bloomberg has, and the fact that he's such a media mogul, he's a personal, not multinational. Period. See, I'm not American. I couldn't care what your religion is.
Yeah.
But I do know, from having studied people in this country, that certain people have certain privileges. And it depends either on your skin color, your religion, or a combination of, and all of that stuff. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So we've got hundreds of millions of dollars and nobody's saying nothing. But since this has to do specifically about veterans, okay? leading back to where we came from,
Yeah.
which is thousands of veterans have also been eliminated out of public housing through this whole social cleansing, scum cleansing, slum cleansing, ethnic cleansing of minority people out of public housing, because housing is closed. It's closed. They didn't buy any new buildings, and they didn't build any new ones to accommodate finding 16,000 new apartments every year. In the past 10 years, 16,000, that's 160,000 apartments.
Yeah.
When the hell did they build that? And when the hell is poor black folk and Puerto Ricans going to run out of public housing to go get to go buy a house or go get anything, when in fact the banker that finances the whole thing is HUD. The property owner here in New York City is not New York City Housing Authority. And they're eliminating people through a policy that New York City Housing Authority can write, which was the 2003 remaining family member revisions that was ushered in by the mayor's political appointee named Tino Hernandez in 2003, a year and a half after Mayor Bloomberg came into power. So what you've got is a Jewish white boy that appoints a Puerto Rican to railroad his own kind. And his third chairman happens to be a black guy who's formerly with Lehman Brothers. His specialty is that he's a venture capitalist. Mm-hmm. You know what they do?
Basically, they usually put, aren't they the ones that usually bets against...
Let me tell you. A venture capitalist comes into your business, breaks it up into tiny little pieces and sells it off. That's how he makes his money.
Okay. Sort of like what Mitt Romney does and stuff like that.
That's right.
Okay.
Big money.
Yeah.
In other words, you get a building like this, you do exactly what they're doing here. This room right here makes about $750 a day. Do you know that?
Wow.
For 4 beds. Between the meals, the tokens they give you, the guys that run the place, the security, the maintenance guy, the heat, the lights, and all of that stuff. All right? Now, are you still with me? I'm not anti-Semitic, okay? My great-grandfather was a Jewish white boy that took a black woman from Trinidad, married her, she converted, and they had a son. That son's my grandfather. Okay. We here? Good. Now, let's get back to the story. The story is, I fought these guys. I won. I got a lawsuit. I won. But then they went back to a lower court to enforce an eviction order. And Mayor Bloomberg had a staffer called a marshal, the guy that was supposed to come and evict me, and had the guy deliver me his regards at my eviction. Now, isn't that something crazy?
It would sound pretty crazy, yeah.
Well, I'm about to prove it in court.
Okay.
Now, year and a half goes by. During that year and a half was when I met the son of New York State Senator Huntley on the street. Well, how do you make friends with a junkie?
You usually try to get him clean, or...
No, you give him money for him to go get high. So I gave him money. And I was compassionate to him because he's a former Marine, he's a vet. And he gave me all their secrets. I put that together, and in January of 2011, I sent the evidence to the Attorney General, and I got a complaint number, 2011-0073. That would make me the client of the Attorney General, wouldn't I?
Okay, yeah.
Good. That means he can't defend the people I complained about against me.
Yeah.
That's why I've got him in court now, busting his behind.
Because of being conflict of interest.
Conflict of interest and attorney misconduct, because you've got a whole bunch of these guys, like right here in the Bronx, you got Silva, you got all of these people that get criminally charged and then prosecuted and convicted, the Attorney General don't go on TV and on YouTube and lay out the whole prosecution.